Welcome to Infinity News. Hit subscribe, like, and drop a comment. We're diving into a major headline today, one that feels less like standard political analysis and more like, well, watching a clash of titans, frankly. We are talking about this escalating, really high-stakes feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
That's right. And the way this is being framed, it's not just your typical public figure spat. People are drawing these huge comparisons. Godzilla versus King Kong, Ali versus Frazier.
Wow.
But the thing is, unlike those, this one is very, very real.
And the reality, as the analysis seems to suggest, comes with potentially massive real-world consequences. This isn't just about, bruised egos.
No, definitely not.
The outcome could apparently touch the future of the nation itself. It could impact huge tech companies like Tesla and SpaceX, which are, let's face it, deeply connected to government work.
Exactly. So our goal here today is to really get under the hood of this. What's actually driving the conflict? Why does it matter so much beyond just them?
And what could the fallout be? Not just for Trump and Musk, but, well, for all of us.
Right.
Okay, so let's jump in. The obvious first question. Could this whole thing just fizzle out? I mean, both these guys are known for being unpredictable.
Absolutely. That possibility is definitely out there. Musk is, well, he's famous for his sudden 180s on things.
Yeah.
And Trump, while he can hold a grudge, he's also showed he could forgive pretty quickly if it's, politically useful.
We saw that with Marco Rubio, didn't we? Going from little Marco to, well, a significant figure.
Precisely. Or look at his sort of shifting stance on TikTok. First, a ban, now maybe not. Apparently thinking it helped his campaign somehow.
And the market seems to be watching too, right? Didn't Tesla shares jump recently? Maybe recovering a bit after the feud got heated?
They did, which suggests, maybe some investors think they could patch things up, find a way to work together again, perhaps.
So the door's not completely shut.
Not completely. But honestly, the analysis we're seeing makes pretty strong case that this particular fight is likely to stick around, maybe even get worse.
And a huge piece of that puzzle seems to be ego. Just massive egos colliding.
That's a big part of it. And what seems particularly explosive is Musk's reported belief that he basically got Trump elected in 2016.
How so?
Well, because he owns X, right, which used to be Twitter. And during that election, it really did become this powerful megaphone. Musk apparently feels that platform was key to Trump's win.
Oh boy. And that, from what we understand, is like touching the third rail for Donald Trump.
Exactly. He apparently really dislikes anyone else taking credit for his successes, especially the presidency. So Musk claiming credit, that's almost guaranteed to cause serious friction.
Okay, so beyond the personal ego clash, are there deeper issues, like policy disagreements?
Yeah, definitely. There are these underlying ideological and policy cracks too. I mean, Musk himself has had quite the political journey. He used to be a Democrat.
Right, but shifted, saying the party lost its mind on woke, I think was the phrase.
That's the reported reason. So, okay, they might agree on the anti-woke stuff, but dig deeper and you find clashes. Take trade, for instance.
Tesla's huge operation in China.
Exactly. And Trump's all about tariffs and protectionism. There was even that incident where Musk reportedly called Peter Navarro, Trump's trade guy, a pretty nasty name, because he disagreed so strongly on tariffs.
Because tariffs could hurt Tesla's supply chain.
Right. And this whole current public flare-up, it apparently started, or at least escalated, when Musk criticized one of Trump's big spending bills, said it was too much spending. And that initial criticism about spending, it seems, quickly opened up these other sort of hidden fissures in their relationship. It just spiraled from there.
And then it got really personal, extremely personal. Yeah. Musk reportedly accused Trump, very publicly, of holding back Jeffrey Epstein files because of, well, some kind of nefarious personal involvement.
Yeah, I mean, that's an extraordinary claim, described as outrageous and foolish in one analysis.
You don't say that about someone you consider a friend, especially a powerful one.
Precisely. It's characterized as not a way to treat a pal, and making that kind of incredibly serious public accusation. It's really hard to see how you just walk that back. It suggests the personal break here is deep.
Okay, so if this isn't just going away, if this fight is likely to continue, who has the upper hand, looking at the power dynamics?
Well, based on the current analysis, if this really does become a drawn-out battle, Donald Trump is seen as the, quote, heavy favorite.
Really? Even with Musk's influence in tech and finance?
He has that, yes, but politically, Musk seems to have limitations. He doesn't really have his own dedicated political base,
Not like Trump's Magier movement.
Exactly. He's also described as not being a natural politician, maybe not always comfortable in his own skin in that kind of arena.
Which can make you vulnerable.
It can. And the thinking is, even if he threw billions at Democrats, it wouldn't necessarily buy him widespread favor, partly because of his history with Trump and, actions seen as aligning more with conservatives on things like spending.
Okay, so contrast that with Trump.
Trump has his base, loyal, dedicated. And while Musk owns X, Trump has Truth Social. Smaller, yes, but it still gets a lot of media attention, gives him that direct line.
But what's Trump's biggest weapon here?
According to the analysis, it's the ability to hit Musk where it hurts his pocketbook.
His wealth is tied up in his companies.
Heavily. Especially Tesla and SpaceX. And those companies, they rely a lot on government contracts, government goodwill, favorable regulations.
Okay, now this gets really interesting. How could Trump actually apply that pressure? SpaceX, for example.
Right. So SpaceX has massive, lucrative government contracts. There's potential speculation that Trump could perhaps slow those down or throttle them.
On what grounds?
Well, one potential angle mentioned is revisiting past incidents. Remember Musk smoking marijuana on Joe Rogan's podcast years ago?
Vaguely, yeah.
That's generally seen as a no-no for people involved in sensitive defense work,
Right.
which SpaceX obviously is. Now, federal scrutiny back then apparently didn't go far. But the question being asked now is, maybe now it goes somewhere.
Using it as a pretext, perhaps.
Potentially. And it's not just SpaceX. Tesla could also face, more regulatory heat. Its accounting practices have drawn attention before.
So this conflict could trigger another look.
Now might get some more, is how one report puts it, suggesting, maybe a renewed investigation or scrutiny.
And then there are the tax credits. That seems crucial for Tesla.
Hugely important. Apparently, Musk was initially annoyed Trump's tax bill didn't cut enough spending overall. But what really, reportedly, stoked his anger was the idea that the bill might target green tax credits.
The very credits Tesla has, quote, feasted upon.
Exactly. Those electric vehicle credits, clean energy incentives. They're vital for Tesla's bottom line and its competitive position. Taking those away or reducing them would be a major blow.
And we have seen Tesla facing some headwinds recently, haven't we? A tough quarter, shares under pressure, especially when this feud flared up publicly.
Right. While the feud isn't the only reason for Tesla's challenges, this kind of public battle between the founder and a potential president definitely adds a layer of risk and uncertainty that investors just don't like.
And there's also Musk's own sort of perceived vulnerabilities, as the CEO mentioned, like past recklessness.
Briefly touched upon, referencing things like that whole funding secured episode when he tried to take Tesla private years ago, which didn't end well. These things feed into a narrative that maybe he's susceptible to pressure or could misstep in a political fight.
Okay, so that paints a picture where Trump seems to hold quite a few cards if he wants to play hardball.
It does look that way, yes.
But there's another side to this. The analysis also suggests that maybe the smarter move for Trump would actually be to back off, de-escalate.
Exactly. And this is where it gets fascinating because it acknowledges Musk's actual value, despite all the drama. He's described as undeniably smart, someone with a real finger on the pulse of the emerging economy.
His companies are not just big, they're important.
Critically important. Tesla's tech is called first rate, especially in EVs, maybe AI for driving. And SpaceX, well, it's seen as transformational.
It really is.
Yeah.
Launching satellites, national security stuff.
A significant national security function, yes. For the U.S. government itself, these aren't companies you can just easily replace or sideline without consequence.
And purely politically, Musk could still be useful to Trump, couldn't he?
That's the calculation. He's incredibly wealthy. He can continue to elect Republicans through donations and influence. And having Republicans in power, in Congress, in states, that could be vital for a potential second Trump term.
Helping him push his agenda, avoid investigations or impeachment.
Things like the war on woke, closing the border, more tax cuts to grow the economy. Having powerful allies, or at least non-enemies like Musk, could make implementing that agenda much smoother.
And they have worked together before, right? There was that mention of them making beautiful music together, exposing stuff with DOGE, the crypto thing.
Right. It shows there's a history there.
Yeah.
Shared interest, past collaboration. It's not all conflict. That potential for cooperation could, perhaps be revived.
So even though Trump seems to have the leverage to really hurt Musk,
The strategic benefits of having Musk either as an ally or simply not an active enemy might actually outweigh the satisfaction of winning the feud, especially if winning means damaging companies that are important to the U.S. economy and security.
it's a really complex calculation for Trump.
Very complex.
Okay, let's pull back from the two individuals for a second. What does all this mean for, for you listening, for the country?
That's really the crucial takeaway here, isn't it? When you have two figures with this much power over technology, huge parts of the economy, political discussion clashing so publicly, so personally, seemingly driven by ego, what are the ripple effects?
What happens beyond their immediate fight? It makes you think about how much personal wealth and corporate clout influence politics, and how these top-level rivalries can potentially disrupt things that matter to everyone.
Absolutely. And the analysis we've looked at puts it starkly, suggesting the ultimate loser in this bloody battle royale could potentially be the nation itself.
Wow, that's a heavy thought.
It is, but it forces us to consider how these incredibly personal, ego-driven fights between very powerful people end up shaping that intersection of business, politics, and technology in America today. It's quite something to watch.
It really is something to keep a close eye on as this whole unprecedented situation keeps developing.
Indeed. It really underscores just how complex and sometimes volatile power is in the 21st century.
So just to recap quickly, we've got this major high-stakes feud driven by huge egos, real policy differences, and some really damaging personal attacks. An immediate truce seems, well, maybe unlikely given the factors involved. Trump appears to have significant leverage if the fight goes on, especially targeting Musk's companies via government contracts and regulations. But there's also a strong case that backing off might be strategically smarter for Trump, given Musk's influence and the importance of Tesla and SpaceX.
And ultimately, the biggest consequences might not be for them, but could ripple outwards, potentially impacting the entire nation.
Thanks for tuning in to Infinity News. Hit subscribe, like, and comment.